Hello, 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 and welcome to the second of our three-part series on the 4 key questions to ask yourself to identify those internal, subconscious, invisible success blocks when it comes to money, love, and creativity. Last week we looked at financial blocks and we asked 4 key questions to help you identify the source of those blocks, because you have to identify where the root is before you can uproot what's holding you back. This week we're going to look at love. And when I say blocks against receiving love that are internal, invisible, and subconscious, I'm not just talking about romantic love, though it might be that you have had multiple years of dating and you always seem to date losers, or just guys who aren't a good fit for you. Or maybe it's like you always seem to attract these guys who are don't really see you as a person, they just see what you can do for them. Or maybe successive long-term relationships fizzled out or ended badly, or you've experienced abuse, or you've gone through divorce or multiple divorces. Anytime there's that type of pattern in place, there is an internal, invisible, subconscious block against receiving love. It could also be that maybe you're settled in that part of your life, but maybe you feel like your family and your friends just aren't there for you the way that they should be. Maybe you're always there for everyone else, but when push comes to shove, everyone else isn't really there for you when things fall apart. Or maybe it's just that you constantly feel like you're surrounded by people with anxiety, people who are greedy, people who are pushy, people who are angry, and you're just never around people who are in a loving frame of mind. If any of these scenarios speak to you, then my friend, there is an internal subconscious block against receiving love into your life. Because here's the thing, your environment is a reflection of what you can receive at that moment in time. If you don't like your environment, if you want to upgrade it and up-level it, if you want to up-level your relationships, if you want to up-level your finances, if you want to up-level your creative output, then you must become a person who has done the internal work to release all the barriers inside that your mind, your subconscious mind, wants to use to keep you stuck where you're at. Now, your conscious mind might say, Lisa Maria, I want more love in my life. I want to meet that special someone. I want to have better relationships with my family that are reciprocal and supportive. I want to have people around me who are loving and open. I want that consciously. Yes, but as we saw in last week's series, and you can go back and watch me talk about this at the beginning of that video, just because you consciously want it doesn't mean your subconscious mind wants it for you. And your subconscious mind might be like, it's painful, but it's safe to be where we're at, and we're just going to stay here. And so you end up wanting something different, but ending up with the same results and attracting the same kind of people every single time. If that's you, then we're going to deal with today 4 questions to ask yourself to identify the root of your block when it comes to love. So the first question I want to ask you in this mini workshop is this. Think about the ratio of loving to unloving experiences that you've had over the last 4 years of your life. Yes, I understand you can't quantify this. You can't go back and count up every single loving encounter where someone blessed you, someone hugged you, someone loved on you, where your spouse genuinely saw you and was supportive of you. You can't go back and quantify all of that. But I want you to think about overall, over the last 4 years of your life, have you been overwhelmed, surrounded by love 30% of the time, 50, 70? Guesstimate a percentage of time where you feel like that's true in your life. You might say, Lisa Maria, it's 5%, it's 10% of my life. The rest of my life feels hard, people feel unloving, I don't feel loved and seen, all of that. But if you can kind of estimate roughly over the last 4 years, each year, where were you at? Then look at the percentage and find your average. So take that, the 100% each year, that's 400%. Add up your percentages. If it was 10% each year, that's 40%. That's 40% out of 400%, right? Figure out your average and figure out, what percentage of your time, if overall over the last 4 years, 10, 15, 20% of your time, you have felt deeply and radically loved the way you desire to be. And again, this is not about I got as much love as I could handle or as I deserve. It's how much did you want? You want to be loved 100% of the time, but you only really felt loved and supported and connected to people around you 10% of the time. Or maybe one year you were in a long-term relationship that went well, and 80% of the time you felt loved, but the next year you guys broke up, and then suddenly it was 10%. Whatever it is, that percentage, the average amount per year, average percentage per year that you sort of felt loved in your life is a measure of how much love you can handle. Yes, this is not about the people in your life. It's not about changing them. It's not about altering them. It's about you. The amount of love you receive in your life, just like the amount of money you receive, is a direct reflection of what you can actually handle and take in to your life. So if you feel very unloved on a regular basis in your life, is it true that maybe you need to learn boundaries and you need to select better friends and all of this? Probably. But at the end of the day, the subconscious block is that you're not open to receiving more love. That can be changed, but we need to understand that the percentage of time that you feel loved, cared for, seen, and connected in your life on a regular basis is a reflection of how much you can your capacity to receive currently. So that's the first question, is what percentage of the time on average over the last 4 years did you feel deeply loved, connected with, radically seen, and accepted, and all of that? If you don't like that percentage, then we need to change it. But it's a helpful marker to start with. Oh wow, I only feel loved, seen, cared for, and connected about 25 to 30% of my time in my life. I guess I'm not able to receive very much love right now. It's a good baseline to know where we need to move to. The second question is, what was your earliest experience in your life with love? We could also turn that around and say, what was your earliest experience in life with rejection? You might say, Lisa Maria, I don't know. Probably my first experience with this was when I was like a toddler, when I was a small child. I can't remember back that far. I would encourage you to get quiet, get comfortable and relaxed, let your mind gently rest, and float around in the past and see what comes up. This is kind of a form of meditation. Just get quiet. Ask yourself the question, what's my earliest memory with love? What's my earliest memory with rejection? And see what comes up. Whatever immediately comes to your mind might not be your earliest physical memory, but it's the earliest memory that your mind has imprinted. What is that memory? Who was loving you? Who was caring for you? What was the context? Did you have to do anything to get that love? Were you conscious of being loved because you had performed well, or you were a good boy or a good girl? Like, what was the circumstance surrounding that memory? Same thing with rejection. If you choose to go that route, who was the first person to ever reject you or tell you weren't good enough? What was the situation? What did they withhold from you? What did you want from them that you didn't get? Most of the memories that are driving our choices happen between 0 and 7. So you're looking for memory that happened between the ages of 0 and 7. It's not that we're trying to stir up, we're not trying to dredge up dirt where it doesn't exist, but it is in there. So when you go and look for that and find where it is, and what was your earliest memory with love, earliest memory with rejection, it's probably going to happen between the ages of 0 and 7. Those experiences left a big impression, and they've formed the beliefs you are currently operating under around love. Second question. So the first question is, what percentage of the time over the last 4 years on average have you felt loved, cared for, connected, deeply seen in the way that you would want to be in your life? Number 2, what's your earliest memory with love? Or conversely, your earliest memory with rejection where you didn't receive love, right? The third key here is, who is the person most responsible for forming your current beliefs about love? Now, if you grew up with a single mom who had a string of boyfriends who didn't care about her and ultimately left her, then you might want to do some work in there to find out, well, what did mom believe about love, and how has that impacted me? If the person who impacted you most, your beliefs about love, was a girlfriend who was older than you and further ahead and taught you everything you know about men, does she have the kind of fabulous long-term relationship that you want to have? If you do. If your earliest memory is with a relative who basically taught you that it's every person for themselves, and you've got to protect yourself when it comes to love because no one's ultimately going to be there for you. That's probably something worth exploring too. So who is the person who formed your earliest beliefs, shaped and influenced your earliest beliefs about love? And what are those person's results? You know what they always say, you don't want to take advice from someone who doesn't have the results you want in your life. But the caveat to that is that very often we take on those beliefs and those behaviors early in life, again, oftentimes between the ages of 0 and 7, and we don't realize that we're running that programming subconsciously, even if we don't like that person's results. It's still, that programming is still in there. So, question number 1, what percentage of the time over the last 4 years have you been able to receive the kind of love you really desire? Number 2, what are the earliest experiences you had with love and conversely with rejection? Number 3, who's the person who most influenced your beliefs about love and connection and what's possible for you to have? And then number 4, what do you believe would need to change before you can have more love? A lot of women I speak with really desire to be in an amazing relationship with a wonderful man. They think they need to fix their external appearance. They think they need to work on their personality. They think they need to work on their dating skills. They think they need to work on their wardrobe. And while it's wonderful to always be working on yourself, if you think that you need to be improved before you're ready to be in a relationship or to be loved by your family the way you want to be or to have a friend group who really cares about you, then you're always going to attract people who think that about you. So what do you think needs to happen first before you can have love? That's a big clue to you as to why you've been putting off having love. Because remember, you attract what you are. You are the one who's putting out a certain vibe into the world, and the world is reflecting that back to you. And the sooner you start to notice your results and your environment and what you are or aren't getting in your life, the sooner you will begin to realize, this area, I'm really showing up the way I want to and I'm getting the results I want. This area, I'm not. And whatever you believe needs to change first might actually be true. It might also be a barrier that is holding you back. I can't tell you how many times I thought in the past, I just need to be different before I can be fully loved. I need to work on myself. I need to go on a healing journey that's completely complete before I can be loved, etc., etc., etc. And then one day I realized, why am I putting barriers in front of this process? It's amazing how much love came rushing into my life when I realized that I could be loved right as I was right then. So those 4 questions will help you to identify what some of the blocks might be lurking around in your subconscious mind. Now, here's the key to this. You can't just notice the block and then be like, okay, cool, I'm healed. Now it's going to be fine. Now love is just going to come pouring into my life. Doesn't work that way. This is a process. This is an ongoing, specific, and defined process that you will need to undergo to release these beliefs, to walk in new beliefs in the renewing of your mind, as it says in Romans chapter 12 and verse 2, and to then be able to live the life that is good, acceptable, and complete and in the will of God. To have what God desires for you to have, you're going to have to undergo a process of renewing your mind and making changes. You're going to have to resolve the dissonance between your conscious and subconscious minds. And I'm happy to say that if you do this exercise and you're going, Lisa Maria, I need so much help with this. Help is here. I am about to re-release my course, 90 Days to Be Fearless and Free, in which we cover this exact process of releasing subconscious limiting beliefs, which are keeping us trapped in fear and keeping us experiencing things we don't want to experience in our lives, and embracing freedom mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically, and then watching things change. I'm amazed this past fall, I ran a group of women through this course. So many of them have told me, my life has changed so much since I took this course. Not because they studied hard or because they got lucky or a blessing fell out of heaven on them. It's because they committed to show up and to rewire their subconscious minds, to reorient their lives and walk in a totally different way that was based in a totally different mindset, and as I like to say, heart set. Where the way you're operating emotionally and mentally will change how you operate physically and change the results you get in the world. So if you're saying, Lisa Maria, yes, I need this, I want to be part of this group, it is still possible to get in with some extra bonuses and benefits before I change the structure of the course, send me a message. I'll put a contact form below this video. You can send me a message and say, I'm interested in 90 days to be fearless and free. We can get on the phone and just have a conversation to see if this might be right for you. I hope this has been helpful for you all, and I wish you all the love, blessings, joy showered upon you, that more than you can handle even, because you deserve that. As a beautiful son or daughter of God, this is your destiny, this is your inheritance. If you know God and you love him and you know that he loves you, then he desires to bless you with more of that love manifested in your daily life. But it's going to require that you open yourself up to receive what's available to you. And when you work through those subconscious blocks, you will be amazed at what happens and what simply slips into your life almost without you even knowing. And you wake up one day and going, I'm living the life of my dreams. How did it happen? Because you were open enough, subconsciously and consciously, to receive. I love you all. Talk to you soon.